coming, and we're starting to see the results of this. We're at what's called peak 18-year-old. Indeed, if you're watching this video and you're 18, I feel bad for you, and I really mean that. Why? It used to be that there were always more young people than the older generation before it because population was growing. We're now at a point where there are less young people every generation. And, when we had millennials, we had Gen Z, it was stable. But now with Gen Alpha, it is shrinking, and Generation Bravo is expected to be substantially less. So what they mean by peak 18-year-old, it's that there is only going to be less 18-year-olds moving forward because there are very few young people. Universities will start to go out of business. Certain stores are going to start closing, and there is going to be an economic, reckoning, we'll call it that. Because it's not as easy to just say, there will be a recession. And I've talked about the economics of population collapse quite a bit. But with what we're currently seeing, as it pertains to TPS expiring, Trump now having the right to remove many of these people, there's a question of what happens to an economy when you do not have the workers to expand it.
Shalom. First and foremost, when they give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakodash, double honors unto the elders and the apostles of great millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to all the Akimath and the four corners, teaching truth and sincerity. This is Thought Shall Require Moth of the GMS Dallas camp, coming at you with a quick hit. Lord's willingness is edifying unto the hopeful elect. As you just saw in that video, he was stating that this is the peak time for 18-year-olds because the population is shrinking. Okay, there's more older people than younger people. It's kind of like Japan. All right, Japan's population is pales in comparison to what it used to. Okay, but this is over here in Babylon the Great, and he's not talking about you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans population. He's talking about you Edomites, all right? Because Yahweh Shemi Shai is cutting the cord, all right? He's not going to allow y'all to rule this earth anymore, all right? So it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai. And call Haloim like Yahweh Shemi Shai for it. He's about to gather his elect and remove them from this earth so he can get busy on the inhabitants thereof. Okay? So I'm just going to jump into the scriptures. Abaratazai, I pray this is edifying unto the hopeful elect. Okay? It's so much. Where should I start? I'm going to go to that Sirach, oldie but goodie, chapter 25, verse 7. There be 9 things in which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy in his children, and he that see the downfall of his enemy. So, here on this side, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, y'all can't live in the fullness in seeing your children thrive, okay? Because they're in hell. We're in captivity right now, all right? Because we chose not to follow after the way of Yahweh Shemi Shai, all right? And since that transpired, since that happened, the Most High has judged us for that, okay? But now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai, he's about to turn our captivity, all right? But the second part of that is we that are in hell right now is seeing our enemy be pulled down, like Cain and Abel, and like Jacob and Esau. because Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, symbolizing the power structure, his power structure being pulled down. Okay, but I'm gonna jump to that Deuteronomy 30:7. Abaratazah. This is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. It says, and Yahweh by Shemiah Shai power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which pursued thee. All right, and who pursued us with the sword? Esau, Edom, these other nations. What do we see in today's time? These other nations are fighting amongst themselves. Esau, Edom is more stout than his fellow. The so-called white man thinks that he's Billy Badass and can go around the whole planet Earth doing whatever he wants. But he touched the apple of Yahweh by Shemiah Shai's eye by putting his hands on his people. All right, so the Most High is coming for that ass. All right, Yahweh by Shemiah Shai is coming to exact holy judgment. All right, righteous judgment. For the controversy of you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of Negroid descent. But not just the bulk of the nation, the hidden ones, the 2/3, the 1/3. He's coming to have that controversy with Esau for the 1/3, which are his delicate ones. All right, his special people. All right, but yeah. So going back to it, it says, "And Yahweh by Shemiah Shai will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which pursued thee." And these curses, we're talking about when you go to Deuteronomy and you read 15-68. Okay, all that is going to be put on these heathen, and they're going to have to live the rest of their existence with that upon them. All right, now Jake, this captivity is over. All right, we get to take that heavy yoke off. Because we went through this, because we messed up. We're supposed to be the apple of Yahweh by Shemiah Shai's eye. We're supposed to be that holy and exalted people, okay? But because of our wickedness, going after these other gods, thinking that other nations can do what the Most High does for us, and that's a joy, because the Most High, Yahweh by Shemiah Shai, it's because His mercies endureth forever that this is transpiring, that all this is happening, okay? Because He had mercy upon us, and this is something that we don't deserve. He's doing it, because He wants to. All right, but going back to it, it says, how the curses are going to come upon the people, the Esau, Edom, and one of the curses is how he's going to cut off, the son and the nephew. I'm going to pull that in Isaiah. My brain just turned off for a second. 1 second. Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 21. It says, "Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities." Okay? Because the Most High is coming to put an end to Esau's reign. All right? To Esau and to Edom's reign. Okay? Because he's not going to allow him to continue on. Hell, he already messed up the playing field. All right? He done stuck up the field. All right, he changed the laws and the ordinances. He's defiled the food. He's defiled the water. He's defiled the air. I mean, come on now, bro. It's time to sit his ass down, okay? And that's what Yahweh Shemi Shai is coming to do. But I'll read a little bit more of this. It says, I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh Shemi Shai, of hosts, and that host is armies. All right. It says, and cut off from Babylon. Babylon meaning meaning confusion, the name and the remnant. And sons and nephews, saith Yahweh Shemi Shai. All right. So he's going to cut off everything that Esau Edom is trying to build, starting with his seed line. All right. And if you've been around long enough, you should know that in the year, I think it's the year 2000, they did a census on the birth rates. All right. And the birth rates of you so-called black Latinos and Native Americans was flourishing. But Esau's birth rate, the Most High has cut that short. Okay, so ever since then, they weren't having enough kids to bring back, their nation, or to keep their nation strong. All right, so and that's the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shai. He started back then, and look at us here in 2027. These it's like 2026. These people they can't keep up. Because one, their women are going to Jake and other nations. And when you can't control your woman, your population is done. All right, but Salakia, not to go off on a tirade. Verse 23, it says, "I will also make it a possession for the bitterns and pools of water." Yes, and I will sweep it with a besom of destruction, saith Yahweh Shemi Shai. And that besom, is the besom of destruction is kind of like a broom. He's going to sweep all this dirt and debris out. All the bullshit that Esau Edom's been doing upon this earth, he's going to gather all that shit up and sweep that shit out. Because he's trying to make the land beautified again for his people. All right? For you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of Negroid descent. Okay? I'll pull back in Sirach. I know Sirach heavy. Sirach 41. I'll start at verse 5. Because these things are beautiful to see. All right? We've been preaching about this for years through the elders and apostles of GMS on down. All right? They've been hammering the point that Yahweh Shemi Shai is coming to set everything in proper order. Okay? But this is Sirach chapter 41 verse 5. It says, the children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. All right. It says the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. So they're going to be hated, for all the hell that they have done upon this planet Earth. They're going to be hated, because they try to prop themselves up and make them better than Swiss Slovakia. Make them better, they're Slovakia. They're trying to show that they're better than their neighbors when when really, they're the ones that have um, uh, been so destructive on the planet Earth. You and you can see that in the news today. There's all these hangings that's going around America right now, in Alabama, Mississippi, Ohio. People think that this is just something that happens. He shouldn't have been there. No, these Edomites are searching Jake out, all right, and turning them into a statement, all right, for their hatred, and it's really not against the people itself. It's against what Yahweh Shemi Shai is setting up. This is a spiritual thing, all right. This isn't a physical. But I'll continue. Uh, it says in verse 7, it says, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. So the children, though there's few, you know, they're being reproached for the sins of their father. All right, and they're doing that on themselves. But it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemi Shai. All right, they're not under the umbrella of our power. They're on the outskirts. They are heathen. Now some of them are Jake. Some of them are going to come back. Because as we usually say, Jake is scattered throughout all the earth. All right, all colors and creeds. But the majority of Esau's population, those are Edomites. Those are our enemies from the womb. Okay, let me see. Verse 8. It says, "Woe unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of Yahweh Shemi Shai power." It says, "For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction." They increased. They fucked up the food. They stunk up the field. They did everything that they could to be adverse to what Yahweh Shemi Shai was trying to uphold upon this planet Earth. All right, and what has it done? It has led to their destruction. The Most High is speeding up the times right now. He's speeding up the times so he can save the elect of his people. Because just like it says in that John chapter 8, verse 44, the 2/3 out here is of their father, the devil. All right, and they want Esau to continue to flourish upon this earth, but the elect want this to be done with. All right, they're tired of seeing wickedness. I'm tired of waking up and seeing Moism go rampant throughout all the earth. Flipping on the TV and want to turn that bitch off in 2 seconds. Okay, but I'll read 9. It says, "And if ye be born, ye shall be born to a curse, and if ye die, a curse shall be thy portion." So if Esau is born, like he said at the beginning, all right, the birth rates are really low. So if you are born, and you have the uh, um, time to turn 18, you look around and realize we ain't got shit. There's there's nothing, no reason for us to be here. They have reached that ceiling. They have reached that ceiling. They can't pass it. And that's what they wanted to put on Jake this whole time. I think that's Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. Yeah, it is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 because and that's how Yahweh Shemi Shai is, man. Hey, cause that chapter goes into the ungodly, all right, and how they would conduct themselves on this planet Earth, all right. But Salakia, I'll read verse 10. It says, because it just gets more sweeter. You know, I think that's what I'm going to title it. Bittersweet. You know, our bitterness, and now we get to see the sweet. But, it says, all that are on earth shall turn. Did I finish it out? I'll read verse 9. It says, and if ye be born, ye shall be born to a curse. And if ye die, a curse shall be your portion. So that was the point that I had to break down. Because whenever Esau dies, you know, on this side, you know, they're going to awaken in our kingdom. You know, because whenever they're awakening in our kingdom is going to be their hell, and that's the bittersweet part. You know, for us over here, it's bitter whenever we had to wake up in His hell. You know, for all the transgressions that we did towards our power. Now Esau is going to die because a lot of these 18-year-olds, they're going to commit suicide. All right, they're going to commit suicide because if you see the downturn of Babylon the Great right now, there's no continuing city for them anymore. All right, America's never going to be great again because it never was great at the beginning. And these people, Esau can't take adversity. All right, he can't take adversity. So what is he going to do? He's going to try to find an easy way out. But whenever he comes back upon the earth, he's going to be in our kingdom. And he's going to get his back beat for the rest of eternity. You know, for that 1,000-year period. Then we're going to put him in that big bonfire, you know, that holy blaze. And yeah, that's going to be the end of Esau's Edom altogether. But hey, man, I wasn't trying to make this long. I wasn't trying to make this long at all. And Salaki, if I went over a said time, you know, but with that, you know, Thwada for listening. For those that listened up until this point, you know, let's keep pushing, keep fighting, because we almost out of here. All right, Yahweh Shemi Hashai is coming to redeem the elect. Okay, so get excited. All right. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh Bahashim Hawashai Bahashim Kakodash. You know, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. All right. Peace and salutations to all the Akim on the four corners, teaching the truth and sincerity. Shalom and shalom.